Hey guys, welcome back to another video of Hoof with your host Hoof. Today we're going through the new burst mode. Now, the new burst mode is the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks event, so let's get to it. So these are the settings I just went for. Now, I decided to pick the Androids team purely because I have a lot of good Android units, and Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 are really good together. So I've pretty much got I've got them running, as well as the AGL cell, transforming cell. Now, the issue with this burst mode, well, not issue, but the trouble I found in the burst mode in this one is you can't do a defensive run. I typically do defensive runs where I will put mainly defense and reduce as much attack as possible from the character, so I can just do this over a prolonged period of time. However, on this particular burst mode, they have limited the points for defensive buffs and health buffs. Well, health buffs has like 650 points, whereas the defensive buffs only has 60 points for 500% defense, whereas attack for this Gotenks is 900 points. So essentially, give him that max attack for 900 and reduce as much else as you possibly can. Health just put to max as well. The way I've done it here, this is definitely a bit RNG based. I found that I had to do this about 6 times to get it. It wasn't exactly easy. RNG was kind of the reliant factor for me to succeed here. Now, this takes me a couple turns, irregardless of the fact that I don't have his defenses, the Gotenks defenses up to max. It does still take me a few turns. I think it's like maybe 12 or something like that. But the rotations I ran with this team were the Gamma 1, Gamma 2, and then Gamma 1 and AGL cell, with the third slot being anything between the AGL Android 13, as well as the second form STR cell, and then as well as AGL Super 17. Now, AGL Super 17 is a viable character in this run. Now, Super 17, if you don't have him rainbowed like I don't, he does take a bit of damage, so just be wary of him. Don't necessarily believe you're all willing safe with him. But if you do have him rainbowed, there's a good chance he'll only take about 30k as his maximum hit from anything. STR second form cell, he actually isn't too bad in this run. He performs quite well. He doesn't, I think out of all the ones I did, he never got me killed. STR second form cell really knew how to help me out, and especially on the rotations when he was linked up with the AGL cell. So when linked up with the AGL cell, the second form cell did a really good job at defense and doing a really good job at supporting the cell, obviously, because there's a lot of links to share between them, and the cell also does a lot of supporting. However, AGL Super 13 kind of struggled a bit in this, especially because the Super 13 doesn't have any defense increase on his super attack. And the real issue is when he transforms, he also doesn't provide any support, so it's not like the rotation is getting any better as well. So he's a bit of a liability. There are way better AGL units I just haven't Dokkan Awakened or haven't used before, so please use them. I would recommend them over this Super 13. Even the AGL LR androids, they're probably way better than him, so try a few things out, see how it goes. Now, the other team you can use, which obviously you still have to do in the second run to get all the missions complete, just like any other previous burst mode, is a very good team. It does feature a lot of good units, okay? It has literally both 7 years, has both 5th years. I don't believe it has both 8 years. I know that it has the physical Dragon Ball Z 8th years, which is great, and then a few other characters as well. That team is pretty broken, so if you would like, feel free to use them as opposed to the androids. But if you do have the androids, this would work out pretty well as well. Now, the biggest defensive clutch is the SCR Gamma 1. Gamma 1 has to be one of the greatest defensive units in the game still, and in this burst mode, he did everything for me. Even without all his links active with the AGL cell, I think he's got like 1 or 2 active at best. He still takes double digits from super attacks unless it's like he hasn't been built up or he hasn't done a super attack. So he's a very impressive unit. If you have him, use him in this, he will do some wonders for you. And I'd recommend, if you're going to run an Android team, run 2 Gamma 1s. Only because if you run 2 AGL cells, he can be RNG heavy, it can be tricky. And having a Gamma 2 as a second lead, whilst you get some good damage out of it, again, you will have a rotation where you will have a very solid defensive unit in the first slot. So I'd recommend Gamma 1 as the leader for the friend. So this Gotenks has a variety of stages that you go through. Now, the first, I think there's like 2 stages. You go through his AGL with Goten and Trunks into the STR base form. Then you go into Super Saiyan 3 in his int phase. Now that has to, you have to lapse 6 attacks or charges before he goes into his deformed state, as what I'm going to call it, if that's even right to say. If it's not, sure, tell me off in the comments, I don't care, do it. But he'll go from either int to tech, or int to physical. And if he goes into tech, he has a chance to go from tech to physical. And I think what you find is he does take more damage when he's in his lower forms. Now, I just want to say that I quite like the burst modes. I think burst modes are very fun and unique events. I remember when it first came out, I was a bit skeptical and didn't really think much of it. But nowadays it's fun. Like, I like that what it provides to you is an opportunity for 2 things. One, it gives you a chance to play around and try out different variations of how to complete an event. In burst mode, you can select your options. You can change things. You can manipulate and make it into a way that works best for you. Like, I like it. The reason I like this event is because 2, I get to use characters that I love to use, or better yet, don't get to use often. And I get to take them to their absolute potential. For example, I think it was like 2 burst modes ago, I had the SCR Cooler as my lead, and I just stacked him for about 30 turns. I got into like 20 mil attack, and it was the coolest thing ever. Like, I had an opportunity to get my favorite character in the entire game to the absolute pinnacle. It was so cool to use him and to have fun with him in that way. And I don't get that opportunity much. So, that's the great thing about burst mode. It gives you a chance to try things out in different ways, and you get to use your characters to the fullest extent and see the capacity that you can take them to. Now, we're on the last 2 rotations here, I believe, because it's probably going to take him another rotation to get through, unless Cell wants to polish him here, which I don't think he does. No, he doesn't. That's it. No, he doesn't. With a crit there, he probably would have. And if you got 3 back-to-back crits, but he probably... Oh, he did a crit there. Well, he got a 3 troopers, 3 supers though. 3 supers for 9 mil here. Yeah, we won't be able to kill this rotation. Dodge and then dodge. And then I think... Yeah, so I get hit with the super here. I was a little worried because I had been doing previous runs where Cell was getting hit for like 30 mil, 300k, and I'm just like, God damn. And then he got hit with a super and double digits like. And then I'm like, all right, we'll be fine. Like, I won't die here now. Even if this Cell, takes some damage, we're fine. But then he takes double digits as well. So I'm like, I'm fine. Like, I had nothing to worry about. And the Gotenks goes down in transformation. So at this point, I won. Gamma 1 in first slot. He can take a super if he wants as well. It doesn't even matter. I'm not going to die regardless. I'm actually going to win it if anything. So that's how I did the burst mode, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think about it, this method I do. And please tell me how you guys do it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your methods. It's one of the reasons I love burst mode, as I mentioned. Let me know. I hope you enjoyed. Leave us a like, leave us comments, and we'll see you. We'll see you in the next video. Whoa!